What's up, everybody? Welcome to CFP Talks. My name is Joe Nissom. With me, as always, is Mr. David Fuchs. No special words for you today, David.
Nothing.
Nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
Hey,
We're
hey,
we've been in a relationship for a long time now. That
yeah,
this is
yeah, nothing. Yeah,
now
no
we're
compliments
comfortable.
anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. But
Spark is
I'm
gone.
good. I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Let's
Good.
talk a little
Good.
CFP.
Yeah,
Let's talk
let's
about
do
some
it.
flashcards.
Yeah, well, we're talking about tools and what to use and what's good and what's not and what is a waste and all that. So I think it's a good little series we're doing right now.
Were you a flashcard person growing up?
Yes and no. It's funny because like every time I made them and used them, I loved them and they were extremely effective, but I wasn't as committed or I wasn't as disciplined to do it every single time.
Yeah.
But if I did, I'm sure I would have been a hell of a lot better of a student. But they're extremely effective. So yeah, I would say like, maybe 50-50. Actually, honestly, maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
But if I can go back, I would probably use them a little bit more because I do think that they're extremely effective.
I couldn't agree more. I will tell you, when I was in high school, there was a girl. She was our actual valedictorian that would walk around. You remember those plastic black boxes that people put flashcards into? They would flip open on the
Mm,
top. You get them at Staples, and they're literally like a flashcard holder,
kind of, yeah, I think
right?
so.
And so, you'd buy those little flashcards, either it was blank or with lines. And this girl who was very, very smart, but more so, her work ethic was off the charts.
Yeah.
And she would walk around with this black box with all of her flashcards at all times for all of her classes. And you would see her like at lunch, in
Just
study hall. She was going through her flashcards nonstop. And I remember thinking to myself, what a nerd. I never, like, I'm too casual. I'm too cool for that. I was such a cool guy. And I was like, so for
yeah.
me, that thing got into my head, and I never wanted to use flashcards because my freshman year of high school, this girl who ended up being our valedictorian and went on to have an incredibly successful career, extremely smart person, and she set that precedent. And what I looked at as, oh my God, she's a nerd, she's trying so hard. And what she knew that I didn't know was this was her way of actually structuring the material for her to learn it even faster. Because this
Right.
girl was taking like four AP classes. I'm like,
Right.
you're crazy. And like, my biggest thing was just let me get through chemistry class because this is impossible and this teacher hates my guts, and I have football practice and I'm exhausted every night, and it's, I can barely hold it all together.
Yeah.
Now this thing gets into my head. I get into college, and in college I was a far better learner than I was in high school. I was far more efficient because I started to learn how to learn.
Yeah.
Coming to taking something like the Series 7, that's where I really started using more of that flashcard structure. Now, I did it with worksheets where I would fill out a worksheet, like, especially, I took I'm going to date myself here. I took the 250 question 7,
Yeah.
which had 60 to 70 options questions. So you needed to know your max gains and losses and break
It
even
had that
really well.
that many?
Oh,
That many?
it was a ton.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
It
That's
was
that's
a
a third of
ton.
the test.
It was a ton, dude. It was
Yeah.
250 questions. It was 7 hours. And you were looking at about 25% ish between options and another, like, options and munis were big,
Yeah. So a lot
right?
of taxes or a lot of math.
A lot of math. It was a heavy, heavy math. And I remember I created myself this little worksheet and I would fill it out every day just to remember and
Yeah.
that catapulted. And so I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, that's a pretty good structure. I carried that to CFP. I didn't do it for level 1 of CFA, but for level 2 and 3, I leveraged the hell out of flashcards. I mean, I bought paper ones, I wrote all over them. I was crossing out, I was doing it because it helped me reinforce the fundamentals incredibly well. Because it gave me something that was more important than anything else when it comes to learning, which is repetition.
Yeah, no, exact 100%. It's that repetition. And like if you can whip them out at any point and just go through 10, 12, 15, 20, or whatever at a time, and you could do that every day, it's like because that's the thing when you're learning some of this stuff, the key is just, and you always say this, it's those repetitions and just doing it over and over and over again and just basically becoming second nature. That's where they come into in up in the clutch significantly.
Right.
I remember it was like whatever 3 weeks before the exam, and we got the puppy, and we were training him and whatever, and he and I would be on the floor like playing with Hudson with our dog, and I would have my flashcards next to me
Mm,
going through them while I was on the floor playing with the puppy. And the point that I'm making is that they're so easy and they're so convenient and they're so, on the go-ish esque. You can do them anywhere, yet they're also extremely, extremely effective. I remember
extremely.
when I was going through like with my two partners in your cohort with you, and we would be going through some of the information. We'd either be going through a question or we'd be talking about a topic, and I'd be like, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's on a flashcard. That's on one of those on flashcards that we're using to study. So um it just became second nature. It was such an easy way to study. It was such an easy way to learn, and it was extremely, extremely effective.
Yeah. And I think there is something really, really important to talk about with the execution because this is where everybody gets it wrong. Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't do my flashcards on Monday. Didn't have enough time. And it's like a small thing. And remember, it's far easier not to do small things than it is to do the big things. In the absence of time, your brain will automatically function to, I got to get these big things done, but excuse me,
Gazette.
but I'll let all these small things go, right? So I got to do my questions. I never let my questions go. I got to do my Q bank questions. Flashcards out. Maybe you don't do flashcards all week, but I'm going to sit there on the weekend and I'm going to do my flashcards for 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday.
Hmm.
You ever do flashcards for 2 hours?
Not 2 hours. I would do them for like 20 or 30 minutes at a
Yeah,
time, max.
exactly. Because doing flashcards for 2 hours is you are watching the clock just praying that the clock ticks because you're like, you
Yeah.
want to murder yourself. And it's it and you just can't like chunk it in that way and expect that the flashcards are going to work. The flashcards are meant to be a daily tool that are
Yeah, you
used
have
for
to.
a short period of time.
Right. You have to do them daily.
That's right. You cannot misuse them in that way. Sitting down for 2 hours, that's not the way the flashcards work.
No. It's not like an intensive study tool or it's an intensive study method. It's kind of meant to supplement everything else, kind of like the Q-Bank that we were just talking about last episode. It's meant to supplement everything. And it's not like, oh yeah, like here's my 3 hour window that I'm supposed to be studying today on this Saturday. I'm going to be doing flashcards for 3 hours. No. You do them like to kind of reinforce some stuff.
Yep. And here is the bet. And when you think about the flashcards, you think about chop mentality. Okay. Think about the flashcards like a big tree that every day you're going to go with the axe and you're going to hit it one time.
Yeah.
Now, if you miss it all week, now you're really behind, right? But remember, you only get to swing that axe once a day because it's a really big, heavy axe. So if you miss one day, you can't make it up by just doubling it up. That's it. You can only lift it once because that's the limitation of the tool. You can't skirt the rules and expect that it's going to work for you. So it is meant to be, and it really does not need to be more than 30 minutes a day.
I've never done it more than that. Now I will say this. Some days collectively, I may have done more than that, like maybe 45 to an hour, because I would do maybe 20 minutes in the morning on the way to work. maybe 10, 15 minutes during lunch, and then another 10 or 20 on the way home. So, collectively, maybe I did do like an hour's worth of just flipping through them. But in terms of like in like a session, I've never done it more. You can't do more than 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think really 30 minutes is your max. And I've had people who would do 20 minutes at the beginning, 20 minutes at the end.
Yep.
Love that, right? Make it your warm up and your cool down. Great way to do your flashcard,
It's a great warm up.
right? Some people do it as this is my morning thing that I do. I'm going to do flashcards in the morning and then I do my studying in the evening. That way it's kind of connecting the concept throughout the day. I'm never too far away from my studies. Absolutely fine. Not my preference, but still a fine way to do it. Some people do it the way you did it. They'll break it up. I'll do, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at lunch, 15 minutes when I study. Absolutely fine. Totally great way to do it.
Yeah.
However, here is the underlying theme and the thing you have to realize. You have to do your flashcards every day for them to be effective.
Hmm.
It's not a pick your own journey type of thing where it's like I'm going to do a little bit here and a little bit there, but I'm not going to do anything here and I'm over. It doesn't work that way. And I don't care what you got going on, your flashcards have to be done daily.
Yeah. Just to keep it fresh and repetitive. It's kind of it's anything. And if you look at like athletes, there's like these little things, but they do them every day just so their mind and their body and their muscle memory stays fresh. Because if you do them, even if you do them for 6 hours and you become a master at your flashcards and then you don't do them for another month, I guarantee you forget a majority of that knowledge that you absorbed during that time. So you have to do it just to keep that muscle memory.
And the thing is that the more you do it, the less time you need to do them. That's the beauty of it. So what I mean by that is that if 100 cards took you 30 minutes initially, 100 cards is going to start to drop down to 25,
Hmm.
then to 20, then to 18, right? And obviously you're going to chunk it more up front because you're going to remember things. But remember, a lot of what's on those cards are very simple, couple of words, maybe a sentence or two. You should be starting to move through them. Initially, it will take you time and it will be frustrating and it will be annoying and you're not going to want to do them. You still got to do them every day. Because think about a basketball player that doesn't pick up the ball in a week. Do we start them in a game?
Right.
Never. We would never do that, right? If and think about the way that, every elite athlete or every anybody who's elite, it's like thinking about like, imagine a stock trader that hasn't like, went on vacation for 2 weeks and he comes back and is like, okay, I'm ready to start trading again.
Yeah, I would even say it like to sometimes when you're at work and you have all these different softwares and programs that you use to submit, like you just said, submit trades, do proposals, whatever it is, upload tax returns, whatever it is. It's easy stuff. But if you're off like for vacation, for let's say you go away with your vacation for a week or 2 weeks and you're gone for 2 weeks, you come back and there's like a little bit of a period where you need to like brush off the dust and like get yourself like going and used to it again. Like it's the same thing. And that's why the flashcards are so effective if you use them every day because it keeps you sharp.
That's right. And everything that you use every single day, inside out. Right? I don't
Yeah.
care if it's doing the dishes, right? If you do the dishes every day, eventually you start finding ways to do the dishes quicker, more
Right. That's such a good point.
effectively. Like, and then
Yeah.
if you don't do dishes for a while, like, me and my girlfriend, we split responsibilities in the house and I cook and she does the cleaning in the house. And so if you ask her to cook right now, she's like
Right.
stumbling and fumbling in the kitchen.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then vice versa. If
And
you
vice
you to
versa.
clean,
If you ask me to clean right now, I'm like, oh crap, I don't even
you're like,
remember how I used to do this.
yeah, like fuck, like what tools should I use? Like what appliances should I use? Like what's the best method to do
That's
it?
right.
What's the quickest, efficient way? Like
Yeah.
you don't know. But like you said, that's such a great point. And that's with anything. Like the more you do it every day, the more you pick up little things that either make it easier or quicker or both for
Yeah.
you.
And you get better. You just get better at it. And I don't care how menial the task is, you're just going to get better at it. Like she has figured out her system where the laundry goes in first, she comes back, she starts wiping down so all the dust comes off, then she vacuum, and then and it's like clockwork. It's like,
Right.
wow, holy crap.
Yeah.
You just got done a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. And the same thing for me. I'm sitting there prepping meals, and I know how to time the stove, because initially I would cook one thing, finish it, then start the next thing. And now I could have two or three things going on at the same time.
Right.
That took my meal prep from 4 hours down to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right. And that's been me doing it for a while. But again, it's you just get better. You learn what to do first. While this is cooking, then I start this, or I marinate this at night, and it saves me 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And the same thing applies here. It's because I do it all the damn time. Driving, right? Think about driving, how nervous. Every turn took tons of energy. And there was a trading course that I took one time with a guy named Larry Connors. And he would always say that the highest form of mastery is, what did he call it? Subconscious consciousness, something like that. I think that, and don't quote me on that by any stretch of the imagination, but it was subconscious, because like when you're driving now, you don't think about making a right turn. You just make a right turn.
Right.
Right. And that's where we want to be with CFP. We don't, if you're there at the point of taking the exam, and you have to think about, and look, there's always going to be some things you absolutely have to sit and grind through. But we want to get to the point where you've seen it so many times that subconsciously you kind of are going in the right direction.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, I think that's a good place to stop. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, feel free to reach out to David or myself with any questions, comments, or concerns. And please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can continue bringing you more great CFP Talks content. We will see you guys in our next episode.